I like still have nightmares that like put me in the depths of the ship. I still wake up being like, how do I get to the top of the ship? How do I find my way out of here? I'm really hell bent on finances and budgeting. I paid my student loans off in months. I never wanted to be that girl, but it's also good to be that girl.
You guys, this episode is so good. Erzsi and I have known each other since college, and I think that's actually why this conversation hit as hard as it did. She said some things that I was not expecting in a good way, and specifically one moment toward the end about watching the Tonies recap from her couch and what she thought her life was going to look like by now. I'm literally still thinking about it. If you're someone who ever has felt like your body or your timeline or just life in general stopped cooperating with the plan you had, this is the episode. So send it to someone who needs to hear it, and if you're not following yet, do it now because we have a lot more coming. Okay, let's get into it. Welcome back to Kicking It Real. I am here with a fellow WMU alum who is as kind of a person as she is talented a dancer. She has danced all over the world with Royal Caribbean, in Salt Lake City with Odyssey Dance Theater, and now splits her time between Chicago and New York City as a dancer, teacher, choreographer, and dance convention assistant director. Erzsi, welcome to Kicking It Real.
Wow, Gabby, you did your homework. Thank you.
Yeah, no big deal. I'll if I don't know you also, but... It's hard to keep up with people nowadays. I don't know. But I did just see you, kind of, for a second.
Yes.
But that was actually
we
last
were in Texas together. I know. It was over a year ago.
It's fine.
But that does feel like recently in our like adult lives.
No, for adult lives, you're like, whoa, that's crazy. I was like, you're going to be there? I'm there. Awesome. But cute. We'll get into that. What are you kicking it with lately?
Oh, okay. I took notes. I know. I am kicking it with aggressively curated comfort. Anything that helps me get just like a 2% more regulated in the nervous system or in the body or in my space, I'm doing it. So whether it's, a comfy clothing, best snack ever, the perfect show, I am doing it.
Wait, can we get into this for a second? Because I love that. And I'm trying to like get into that headspace of romanticizing your life even.
Yes.
I feel like I feel like that was a thing on Instagram a few years ago, and I was just like, okay, whatever. But now I'm like, I think I get it.
The body, we need it.
Yeah. Okay. So comfy clothes. Is there anything like that you do differently because I love a comfy clothes as well, but is there anything you do differently with that intention behind things? Like, what would be an example of that?
I feel like it's also just like giving into the guilty pleasures, and not feeling so guilty about them. I think a lot of the times, especially as like artists, as athletes, we tend to be like, if it's not perfect for me, like if it's not perfect for my like sport or art or whatever, like this efficiency kind of obsession, then it's not worth it. But for me, it's just like, I've learned that if I don't take care of myself, we'll get into it later with my like health struggles of recently, but like, like making myself comfortable has to come first if I'm going to be able to like get through my day, at least personally for me. Those creature comforts.
And knowing yourself, and we just talked about before we started recording too, just something as simple as having laundry in unit. And just like, as you like, get older, you start to learn your priorities.
Yes. And like, I think like not feeling ashamed of needing comfort. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of people that are, they have like very minimal needs. And I feel like my entire life I've been like, I'm so not needy. I require so little. And it's like, actually, you know what? You function a lot better when your needs are met. Like, even if you do have higher needs.
The longevity too of you're still going, and people who try to pretend that it's not a thing, they just stop.
And I wish I had like but I get it. Like I wish I was like, I can do anything with whatever. Like I wish I could like push through. You know what I mean? Like I wish I was that girl. I'm not. I have my comfort needs.
And it's just setting you up for success, because also the older you get, your body forces you to slow down, whether you have issues or not, just like normal wear and tear. So you're just really ahead. Anyways, wow, that was a good tangent. What are you kicking to the curb?
Okay. All right. I'm kicking to the curb. Hustle culture, timeline comparisons, and performative productivity. So really, the idea that my worth is tied to like output, time, or struggle Yeah, no, thank
Yeah,
you.
no.
It's a hard
I've been
one, but
especially when you're I actually just had on the last this week's episode
hmm
a question about just how to train when you're not in a studio setting, but to tie it to that, when you're out of college and you're an adult, no matter what you're doing as a dancer or entrepreneur, it's like how do you gauge when enough is enough? And that productivity thing, because I'll go back in my journals and I'm like, how can I be more productive? Like as a high
yes,
schooler, I'm like trying to figure out
yes.
how I can max it, but I've been seeing a lot lately of the idea of 4 hours of concentrated good work is better than 12 hours of, oh, I'm so busy
Mm,
and I've been doing so much. And that's a concept I'm really trying to like
that's
get
another
into
good one.
more.
That's another like segue into the same topic of like, right. It's better to have the energy to commit to it fully in like a shorter amount of time rather than like this dragging, like
Yeah.
constant.
You're like,
Yeah.
gosh, enough is enough. Well, this is not where I was going to take this, but on this note, do you feel
Yeah.
like I remember I'm putting myself back to my dancing in New York days of,
Yeah.
again, you're your own boss and you're deciding what
hmm
classes you can take and what you can spend money on and what your body can
Yeah.
physically keep up with. Do you see that show up in taking less classes and maybe being more intentional with them or taking a lot of classes? Have you
Yeah.
found that for yourself?
Yeah, I think for me, the reason why I like being in New York so much is that I feel like when I'm here, I have to invest in myself. I feel like at home, because when I'm home, I'm with my parents. Like I'm home. I'm saving money home. And like, that's like an hour and a half trek driving into the city for the one, maybe two or three different theater classes you have access to there. Which again, I love Chicago, but it is very limiting in that respect. Um, Anyways, so when I come to New York, it's like you don't have the choice. You're here, you're paying for the rent, you are doing you are doing the thing, you need to go take class. And I'm much more selective with what I audition for nowadays. But when it comes to class, it's like if I have the means and the physical, bandwidth to do it, I'm going.
Yeah.
Usually that's like yeah, again because I also work such like a um atypical structure. I work like 13 weekends out of the year, and the rest of the year is just like teaching and gig work. I have so much free time,
I
which
am so
I,
excited to get into this. Yeah. I'm like really getting ahead of myself. I'm like, okay, Gabby, let's reel it back because
but I
I,
know, I know it's atypical. I know it's not normal. So like, I really try to. It's hard because I feel like there are so many other people that with my timeline and structure with just like max every day, and like I can't do that right now. Um, So that one thing I do is like that one commitment. You will take class today. You will go out and get out of your apartment today. Um, I'm really, really, really hell bent on finances and budgeting. So for me, it's like you already paid for it. Like there is no. I am not the kind like I don't not go. There is no not showing up. Like if I've paid for
no.
something, I'm going. And so that's like a nice way to kind of like I don't want to say I force myself into things because I love taking class. But when you are traveling and you are working and you are coming in and out of the city constantly, I get that for a lot of people, it's really easy to just put that off. Or it's like I've been dealing with the question. Sorry, I'm rambling, but it's really hard to deal
That's
with that
okay.
question of like, what's the goal here? Like, what am I even doing this for? And it's like, well, it's for you. Like, it's just for you, whether it's for health or mental, health or
Yeah.
like again, I still have these things I want to do with myself. So yeah, I
Yeah.
I take class as much as I can. I don't take class more than once a day. Sometimes I'll do that just to like push myself at the end of like a sublease. Just to like I would you know what I mean? Because you don't have that like rehearsal structure anymore, and there's
Yeah.
always that fear that like, well, what if I can't get through like a rehearsal day or something? So sometimes I'll
But
get into like a double class, but
yeah, I mean, but it's that night. It's when you have something, you take it for granted, or I don't. What's that one saying of you always want like you can't. I don't know, but because
I
you're
get what
not
you mean.
there full time, you're not. I would get into a rut of like, oh, I don't feel like taking class, but then it kind of forces you to not burn out almost because you're
That's
not.
literally why I won't sign a lease here. It's a part of why I won't sign it.
Oh, I'm gonna
Yeah.
save that because I want to get into
Got it.
that in a little bit because I'm
Yeah.
gonna like this is why I take notes to try to stay on track because
I hear
otherwise
you. I know. I
okay,
know.
just to set the background for some people, I act like
Yes.
everyone knows you, which they will now. Uh, when you grew up dancing, what
Hmm.
made you decide one to pursue dance in college? Like, what was that
Hmm.
like? And then also, why did you choose Western?
Oh, okay. So, I grew up dancing at like a small town competitive dance studio. I feel like we were more recreational until we hit like middle school, and then it was like suddenly this like, oh, like we have a good group of kids that like actually tries hard. Let's go for it. And the studio really geared and kind of like hunkered down on like true, I wouldn't say training, but like we wanted it. And then the numbers dwindled because suddenly we were putting in effort. And suddenly it was a very tight group.
Interesting.
And basically, my junior year of high school, there was five of us, six of us, in my like little team. There was no one above us, and there was only like kids
Wow.
3 to 4 years below us. So we were kind of this like selective little group that kind of stayed. And I found out or I guess it was my sophomore year of high school, that they were all leaving to join dance team, every single one of them. And I had not only been not really a part of that like conversation, but like that was just not something I wanted. I
They
knew
knew.
that, yeah, I knew that I wanted to do, it's not even that I knew I wanted to dance professionally. It's more just like I was very, at the time, very rejecting of the dance team culture, at least of what was happening at my high school. Like I was,
Mhm.
I was
It
so
was
tunnel
different back
vision.
then.
It was, and it was more of like a social thing. And I just didn't want to
Yep.
be included in what dance team was, in my perception, known for back then, which I think is also just like so. I mean, I would consider myself a judgmental person, but I was extremely hyper judgmental back then. And so for me, it was just this like, oh, I could never, and like, I'm loyal and I would stay. And like, it just became this like,
It's the
um,
loyalty too. I get
yes,
that.
yes. And it's like the
No, it
loyalty to the
happens.
passion, to the training, to the artistry. And like, I feel like I was just starting to get myself in high school. I was just starting to really gain ground. So then I was by myself at the studio at about 16 years old, training with kids 14 and under. So
Wait, the
I
whole
like
time you never like left the studio. Wow.
no, I stayed my junior and senior year. I was only ever dancing with kids, yeah, like 2 to 3 grades, my youth. I went through like a major friend shift at school. It was like, because like that's the thing. It's like your dance friends are your friends at school,
Yeah.
anywhere you go. So it was this thing of like, well, if they're not my friends at dance anymore, like who are my friends?
Especially in high school, everything feels like a bigger deal.
Yes, yes. It was
Boyfriend
such
breakup.
a big deal. I like went through like this huge depressive episode at the time. Like it was horrible, but it also, oh my God, I needed those years. I needed those years as the team leader. I needed them as the person everyone looked to. It was like suddenly all eyes were on me at the studio. Everything I said, everything I did, everything I stood for was like on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Which like maybe wasn't the best for me also, but at the time like I needed that to be like, oh no, I can do this. I am
Yeah.
that girl. I can go for this. So
I mean, because that would have scared a
yeah,
lot of people away, I would think. So it's
I
cool to see like you rose to
it's
the
funny, like
occasion.
I was gonna say for me that was just like everything I think I had needed. And
Hmm.
yeah, probably like high school is when I kind of thought like I could dance, I could do this, right? And I still loved science and the body. So I knew that that was important to me to like weave into whatever dance degree I was going into. And then
Yeah.
I was really, really focused on like not choosing a style. At the time, I feel like
Yeah.
because Instagram wasn't a thing, like our access to information in general, like was just so much more limited at the time.
Yeah.
Um, so I knew of like University of Arizona. I think there was like maybe like one school out here. Oh, Pace was going to open, but it wasn't going to open until like I was maybe a sophomore or junior with their like
Yeah.
big commercial program. And then there was Western. And I visited. My mom took me on two massive trips my junior year to the East Coast, to the West Coast. I ended up in the middle at Western Michigan in Kalamazoo.
Oh, me
And
too.
yep, I went to that audition. I um, remember watching WDP perform a Jackie Nowicki piece.
Hmm.
Um, and I remember standing in the hallway looking at the bulletin board for Jackie and WTB at the time and like reading Jackie's life, like her biography. And David Kerwin comes up to me and he goes like, "Hey, so like, what do you think?" You know, because he was the director at the time. And I was just kind of like,
Wow.
ah, like I just want her life. Like what she made was so interesting and so cool. And like coming from a competitive dance background, like I just hadn't been, I hadn't seen like my dance world was so small still. And so I just remember looking at him and being like, I want her life. Like I want to be in New York grinding away. Like I want to walk dogs and go to class and do the audit. Like I just remember like looking at him and being like, that's what I want. And I just
And
remember
he's
being
like,
like,
come.
he was literally just like, well, maybe you've found your place. And
Well, but that's so cool because you had like no expectation of, and it was all new for you. So, and also knowing you in college, like that makes sense as well of like you just like taking it all in where it's like you weren't jaded at all but for anything and you had no
no,
expectation, which is also
no,
sometimes a great place to be. I mean, in
yeah.
certain situations, but wow, that's
Yeah.
such a,
So
it's like a
it
love
was like the
story.
triple track program. It was like the opportunity to perform so much.
Hmm.
The ability to like dive into kinesiology and ballet history
Yeah.
and all this stuff that I know most schools offer things like that, but I
I
was
know. I
allowed to
love
take
hearing.
kinesiology as a freshman, so like that was just so cool for me, and like, um, yeah, I think I just, yeah, I loved that it was also a 3 hour car drive, you know,
And it makes
that,
it I would say makes sense too of your love for school and that combination of it. And I
hmm
feel like I get a lot of questions now too about do you go to school for dance? Do you just go straight to New
yeah,
York? And
I know
some,
it's so varied nowadays. Like I feel like my opinion has changed on it
which I
a
want to ask
ton.
in a second too, because I wanted to say
Sure.
before I get your real opinion, how
Mm.
did college actually prepare you for the real dance world?
Yeah. Honestly, it really set my expectations. I feel like in a weird place. I it's funny, so you know our like junior and senior year we have our like meetings with the professors and they kind of give us that feedback. And I remember my senior year, my meeting was with Megan and shout out Megan Slater. And she looked at me and she was kind of just like, so the faculty like you know, ooh, whatever, you know, we love you. And it was just kind of like, but we can see you doing whatever you want, whatever direction you feel. And I was just kind of like, this, this, that like so doesn't help. And I just, it was such a compliment, but it gave me no direction.
Yeah.
And it kind of just put me in this like frozen spot, which is why when I ended up signing my contract with Royal Caribbean, I was like, I just felt like this like low key, this like black sheep of like all this ballet training, all this modern training, and I'm gonna go dance for them. You know what I mean? Because at the
Yeah.
time, cruise ship dancing was also like on a weirder tier. You know, 8 years ago, like it was me and I think the Matar twins. We had just
That's so
both
true.
booked Caribbean contracts and everyone else was like, I'm going to go study with this company or I'm going to go starve and be like struggle here. And I was like, I have student loans. I'm going to go work for Royal Caribbean.
Yeah.
And
And like
so
pay them
when it
off. Yeah. Like,
comes, yeah, but like that for me is what really, I wish, and maybe the programs updated themselves a bit, but I wish I had had a better idea of like how much your access to art and training and everything was just going to plummet after school.
yeah. And I
You know what
think
I
too,
mean?
it's
The
like, I,
reality of like what these auditions look like and like
yeah, because you're not, when you're in college, you're in a bubble of auditions. Like
yeah,
you're
well, I'm like,
auditioning
and
with
I was aware
everyone
of
you know.
that, but well, I was gonna say, and I was aware of it, but it just, I wish it had been pushed a bit more, like actually in school, because maybe I was aware of it because I was aware of it outside of school, but in school, like that was never really,
Yeah.
the struggle wasn't talked about enough, truly. You know what I
Yeah, it's
mean?
kind of
I
like,
don't know. Yeah,
yeah, no, it's hard to replicate. And I think also from just obviously I can only speak on Western, and I think
yeah,
just talking to other people, I don't think there's really one program that embodies all the different possibilities. And I think
No.
one, at 18, it's hard enough to know what you want to do with your life in general. And
Yes.
then
I still
two,
think it's so crazy.
yeah, I don't get me started on that. But then also, even as a dancer, it's like, I always tell the story of I was getting moved up in jazz classes and wasn't doing as well in modern. And they're like, oh, take more modern because you're already good at jazz. And like, I was like, okay, but I didn't want to do modern dance, and you just don't know. And you're just, that part I think is really hard to like dissect. But also for me, I was not ready to get out into the world at 18. There's no way.
No, I knew I needed some kind of program. The studio I came from, I did not have.
Yes.
I mean, I could have booked like a contract with Royal Caribbean or something at 18, but like I needed my dance world expanded upon. I needed that training that I got at school, but it did give me a much better quality of movement, I think, and just like general body
Life
awareness
even.
that just like a safe
Connecting all
space
that.
to
Yeah.
so I mean, yeah.
Did your sister did not go to school, right? For
No,
dance?
she didn't.
So
She had a
I was
very
gonna
different
say,
track.
very different track. And I feel like this is what I
Yeah.
wanted, just the context of what you, I mean, hindsight 2020, but knowing that you guys had very similar training growing up and like how your paths went, like, what do you feel as a blanket general piece of advice about going to school for dance or not?
I think for me, so my sister's a dancer in Los Angeles, right? She does much more commercial work rather than like concert or technical work nowadays. And for her, she at 18 was ready. She had a much more, my opinion on studio home life is like not every kid learns the way the home studio teacher teaches. So my home studio taught in a way my sister like flourished upon. Whereas for me, I was hypermobile. I had my limbs going everywhere. I had no sense of direction. I was being trained in ways that were like bulking my muscles in ways they shouldn't have been. So at 18, I would say I wasn't ready. Whereas my sister at 18,
She also had you to look up to as well.
this is true. Yes, yes. She had like a solid extra 3 years without me after I left, which helped. But yeah, so at 18, she was also, I'm like a younger my grade. So like I wasn't 18 until like a couple weeks before I started my freshman year. Whereas she's a November birthday, whatever. Point being, she was ready. I was not. So when I look at a kid like her who, because she had the older sister, because she had, I mean, everything I was coming home from college with, I was sharing with her. So like she was getting everything I was getting at school, those like freshman, sophomore, junior years at Western. So her life was being expanded on. I don't know. I think when it comes to advice for kids, it's like, it's a lot of personality. It's a lot of like maturity. I think every kid needs some kind of a world opening training experience after high school, whether it's intensive in New York, whether it's that CLI thing that's getting really big right now. Anything to just get you outside your studio life. If you've been kept in that bubble so much. I know we go to conventions and stuff nowadays, and that really broadens our perspective much more, especially within social media and stuff. But I think it's really important to train outside of your studio in some respect. I think for the commercial world, a full BFA is not something I don't think is really required. I don't think I would have. I didn't think that then either. At the time, I wasn't sure if I wanted to go commercial, if I wanted to go concert, if I wanted to, push myself in more of that realm. And even though my career hasn't taken me that route, I guess not like directly. I think
it's sometimes you have to know what you don't want too.
Right. I knew that I didn't want to be a backup dancer. I knew that I wasn't going to be doing hip hop. I knew I wasn't going to be doing hip hop on a stage anywhere. Like I could get down. I had my Rennie Harris moment in school, but like,
I was going to ask.
Yup. And like, I'll still go to house classes sometimes nowadays just to like push myself and like get that, I do. She does. She just attends hip hop every once in a while. But Yeah, I knew that
I love that.
I needed it. I needed a degree. I know that for a lot of kids though, that like, oh, I don't know how I want to get to where I want to go. I've had a lot of students
Yeah.
like, reach out and be like, how do I get to X, how do I get to this job or how do I get to that job? And it's like, to be so real with you, it's just about not quitting. And so you need to find what's going to support you
Work.
and
Yeah.
keep you, you know.
Yeah. And I'd argue it's like you said, personality. It's more so the mental state that sounds more serious. But,
Yes.
some people need more structure. I mean, I was one of
Yeah.
them and you
Yeah.
need that guidance, and there are
Yeah.
definitely ways you can do it and go to New York and do different
Sure.
intensives and
Sure.
things. But yeah, it's just very dependent. I just don't think there's like a wrong answer. And I think people
No,
are trying
there
to like
isn't.
find the right answer, but it's just really, you
Yeah.
just have to trust that you're going to figure it out exactly what you said. I think I was going to go back. I think I was at that Royal Caribbean audition. Was it the one at Western?
No, actually, I went to Pittsburgh with Allison Long, Miss Al Long.
Shout out
It was
episode 10.
Yes, shout out episode 10. Go listen to her. Um, she and I, she was thinking about moving to Pittsburgh, which she
Mm-hmm.
ended up doing. And Royal Caribbean was having an audition. So I think it was like a random, like, I don't know, someday randomly, like the last few days of our senior year, we drove our asses out there. And
I think maybe it was after you were gone. Maybe it was my last year that I did it there.
yeah,
So maybe that's why I'm confused.
as
Can
I
you
say,
talk to?
they didn't
Go
have
ahead.
any they didn't have any cruise ship auditions at Western at all.
You missed the boat, literally. Oh, no
Well,
pun
I
intended.
started it. Listen, and I started that chain, so you're welcome, Western.
Yeah, except I
Cruise ship
think
scatter.
maybe we're gonna start a movement. Can you, for
Yep.
someone? Okay, two parts. For someone interested in cruise ships, what was the audition
Mhm.
process like to like actually getting to rehearsals
Yeah.
on the ship? And also, could you talk us through your like financial thought
Oh yeah.
process through that?
Oh yeah.
Just curious.
So I love it. So I knew leaving college, I was gonna have some student loans. My parents helped me a little, but I was also like, y'all done enough. Please stop. Like, I don't know. I can't. It's that older. It's like that Hermione Granger,
The
oldest
eldest.
daughter. I can't. Please stop. So I knew that I wanted to take that on as early as possible. I knew that most of my career I wouldn't be able to take on student loans successfully. So in my head, I was like, okay, what can I do to get a big chunk of money quickly out of school? Like that doesn't happen for artists. That doesn't
Nope.
happen for dancers. If you ask anyone else in my grade, that didn't happen probably to them for years.
I mean, it doesn't happen to
So
most people for years,
right.
let alone
So
dancers.
I took my little senior year of college brain and was like, a cruise ship contract. They pay for my living, they pay for my food. I can save all that money straight into my student loans, which I did. I paid them off in
That's
months.
so cool.
Okay, quick pause from our sponsor. I'm just kidding. It's literally me. I'm your sponsor, but make sure you are following if you have not yet. We have conversations like this all of the time. And if you're thinking about someone in this episode who needs to hear it, make sure to send it to them. Okay, and we're back.
To the point where, like, when I was living on the cruise ship, I got a second job because I was bored out of my mind. Side note. Got a second job on the cruise ship. That was my spending money. That was the only money I was allowed to spend, was the money I made in my second job. So my entire paycheck was going to my student loans and into
Wow.
savings for if I wanted to move to New York at some point.
So smart.
That was why I did that. And then let's see. So as a cruise ship dancer, I know that they've changed like slightly, but you get there, you sign up. It's usually a big open cattle call. The one I attended only 2 cruise ship open calls. I attended for Royal Caribbean and for Holland. And for Royal Caribbean, it was at some university, I think, in Pittsburgh. And then for Holland America, it was in New York at Pearl Studios.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a scary call.
Yeah, it was horrible, but she made it through. But yeah, that was a rough one. You get put into the big room. You're told to warm up. You get called in, maybe in groups of however much the studio can allot for. You learn the ballet combo.
The ballet
It's gonna
combo sends me.
Yes,
Like a ballet
it's
combo. For what?
It's funny because at the time I was like, I'm coming from like Lou Christensen and like
Con
Anthony
Moore.
Tudor work. Like, right,
Yeah.
like I am ready for this. So like at the time, easy peasy. As like a kid just trying to get into cruise ship, I would have been like, eh. But it wasn't horrible. You know, you do a leg, you do a turn, you do a jump.
Wait, but also, I'm sorry, this is not relevant, but doing all that, no bar, like let's just
No,
go
yeah,
straight
just
into
go in
center.
there. Just go in
Okay,
there and do it.
great.
And especially when the one I did for Holland and New York, like, you know, those Pearl Studios. I mean, there was
Hmm.
no ability to, like, thank God I was 18. Thank goodness, because otherwise, I don't know how my body would have been prepared to just
No
jump into
way.
that.
No way.
um, and then we did more of like a showgirl theatery, like a combo, and then there was like the like groove combo, like jazz funk.
Her hip
So,
hop
and
came
that's
out. Rennie Harris came out.
yes. You know, her little sassy side, and both auditions are very similar. I think they're still run very similarly because that's like they check your general technical levels, and then they cut for body. Thank goodness. Well, we love you, cruise lines. And then they do the like showgirl, like theater combo that like can kind of direct you into certain areas on cruise ships, whether you're doing the showgirl route or the theater route. They want to see you do a leg, they want to see you do whatever. And then there's like the new age cruise ship shows that are more jazz funky, they are more commercial. Some cruise ships even have more contemporary shows on them right now. Kind of cool. But
Yeah,
yeah,
they're
and
really
then you get
evolving.
put in that if you make it through the whole thing, you get put in their like casting like catalog. Um, and sometimes you never hear back. I never heard back from Holland America. I never heard a single word from them. But from even though I made it to the end. But from Royal, yeah, a month later, I was offered a contract. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's how showbiz, I guess. That's how it works.
Yeah, literally. And I honestly, at the time, I don't think I realized how lucky I was to receive one. I think I was like, well, of course they have to use us. We're in their catalog. And it's like, actually, people make it to the end of their auditions constantly and never actually get cast onto a ship.
That's so
So,
wild to me.
yeah. Well, and like the bigger the world is, the more saturated it is. I mean, I think I also hit it like in that sweet spot before cruise ship careers really boomed.
Yeah,
Um,
no, for sure.
but
Because I think it was like, I remember when you booked it, I was like, oh, that's really cool. But also, I don't think I knew anyone else that had done it.
no,
And also, I
I
think
didn't either.
for me, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't be away from home that long. How long was your contract?
I It was 8 months. I was
That's a
lucky
long
because there are
time.
even worse ones.
Yeah.
But that was partially that's why I was like a one and done girl. My experience on cruise ships was fine. I It's hard. I say like if anyone's interested, do it once. But really, 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 what affects you is the cast you're with. And the cast I with was like wonderful people. There just weren't my people, and I had my friends. I had my like my the people I like spent my time with, but it was like we went from dancing 50 hours a week at school to like maybe 12 on the ship, and that was just really hard for me as someone who really thrived being busy at school. I was like
Yeah.
so bored on the ship.
Gosh.
I
Well,
loved
and talk about
performing.
like
Yeah,
literally living. They say like when
yeah,
you're in a
yeah.
show, you're living with your people, but you're literally living with your people.
Yes, and that's like the craziest part of the cruise ship is that especially when I was on it at the time, you're sharing rooms. So you're in this like little closet of space, you know, where there's no windows, sharing a very tight space with someone you've
Wild.
just met. And you know, that big jump from 50 hours a week to 12 hours a week, dancing two shows. I was on a ship that was doing two shows, that you go twice in one night. So it's 4 shows a week, a couple other
For
little
sure.
things you do. That's it.
We only, yeah, I guess that makes sense because it's the same people on the ship. You can't just like do a
Well, and
show
like for
like all
some
the time.
ships,
Yeah.
there are three shows, and like they're doing shorter cruises. So it's like there are contracts where you're dancing so much more, but for us, it was like 6 and 8 day cruises where you're dancing two nights a week, and then every other
Yeah.
night you're free. Every other day you're free. There's like a parade you do or some like little tiny little thing, but like otherwise, you're just getting off the ship for fun, which is really cool and like was really cool, until we got to the Caribbean. And as you can tell, your girl she is not a tanner. She is not like a sit at the pool, have drinks, and sit in the sun kind of girl. And the rest of my cast was. So that was like the big separation, was that we would get off the ship and they would go to the beach or to the resort and just like sit in the sun and drink. And I was like, I'm gonna go find Wi-Fi because they make us pay for it on the ship, and I'm too cheap and too budgeting to pay for the Wi-Fi, and I miss my family, so I'm gonna go find a cafe
Oh,
where I can get Wi-Fi so I can connect with the world and explore the city we're in. And like that was just kind of
yeah.
like my life. Um, I
Which
got
can feel
like
isolating for
I got
sure.
super, super depressed. And I also like I'm a girly that like I feel like a lot of us have like eating struggles or eating disorders. And like for me, the food on the ship was like such a problem. It's just funny because I came from like a dorm life, college situation where I had
Yeah,
to
but
like
the Burnham salad though, like let's talk. It was good.
come on.
I miss that
And
chopped salad.
I listen. I worked at where did I work? I worked at the cafe on campus, or whatever. Like I had access to things that like
Yeah.
whatever. Point being, food on the ship was hard, and that also just like the isolation, no Wi-Fi. I wasn't like so much a party girl. Um,
Yeah, it's hard.
I just really cared about dance, and like that was not fun. So like, yeah, I think at the end of the contract I was open to doing something else. But then when I wasn't offered the ships I had asked for, I was kind of like, okay, I think I'm done. I don't want to do that
You're like
again.
meant
And
to
I think if
be.
yeah, I think if I had maybe people that were like more willing to do classes on ship or teach combos on the ship or just like access to Wi-Fi would have just made so much of a difference. And I know that that is a little bit easier nowadays. I think because of the like mental health issues that were happening on ships, they do try to make that a bit more accessible nowadays. And I know that on a lot of the new cruise ships, you're only sharing a bathroom, not a full bedroom.
Oh, that's nice.
Um,
Because I mean, I've never been on a cruise, but I've heard even just as someone booking to a cruise to go, the rooms are small. So I can't even
yeah,
imagine.
so and that yeah,
Yeah.
the crew areas are tight, and you can talk to. If you, I don't know if you haven't had Jenna Brady on here yet.
Yeah. No,
Okay,
yeah, Jenna's
so
been, I've had a few cruise people, but Jenna's been on.
okay, I was
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
say, but like, and Jenna can vouch for this too, where like every contract is very different. I think different people, different room situation, different Wi-Fi, even a different itinerary would have put me in a much different headspace
Yeah.
afterwards. But what I experienced was I was just kind of like, ooh, I don't know if I could do that again. Like I could do something new again, but I can't choose to do something different than what I just did. And likely it would just put me in a even, I would have to just like do
Yeah.
the whole thing over again. Yeah, anyways.
It's a hard,
Mm.
I mean, it's hard to, like, even as a person, your environment affects you so much, which,
Yes.
like, quite literally, if your space, like, for me, if my space is cluttered, it's affecting me. And that's such a
Yes.
permanent situation with
Yeah.
another human that you
It's so funny.
cannot
I like
control.
still having like nightmares that like put me in the depths of the ship, which I didn't think of at the time, but when you're still affected by it years down the road, like I still wake up being like, how do I get to the top of the ship? How do I find my way out of here? Like I still have those dreams every once in a while.
I'm
So
thinking
I'm
of, like,
like,
you're, like, in
oh,
Titanic mode. Like,
no,
literally, like, I'm drowning.
kind of, right? Like it's like at the time, like I would have never have thought it was affecting me that hard, but like when I mean I'm what like 6 7 years. No, I'm longer than that. I'm like 8 9 years from this contract. So
Oh,
the fact that
gosh.
I'm still sometimes having dreams like that, I was like, ooh, okay, no, we made the right choice to not probably do that again
Not go
for
back.
me.
Well, like, yeah, and pros and cons, right? Exactly. Because maybe you go
Yes,
on a ship
yes.
and you have an
All of those
awesome,
things did work for you, right?
yeah, and then
Yeah.
it's great. But also, at least if anything, you're able to pay your bills off. And even I talk to people about it too. Even if you don't have student loans or you've already paid them off, from what I've heard too, it's just like do it when you're young. Like that was the
Mm-hmm.
time to do it. Like right out of college, you can save money
Mm-hmm.
because that was what held me back from moving to New York. I
Yep.
mean, multiple things, but one of the biggest things
Mm.
was money. Of I need to
Yep.
have a solid like
Yep.
savings ready. I did go through it in a whole
Yep.
summer. It was
Yep.
decent savings. I was gone, so it's not a
Yeah.
joke. Which budgeter
Yeah.
Erzsi will talk to us about too as we
Yes.
get into more things. But okay, so you did the cruise ship,
I
and I
did.
wanted to talk about Odyssey because I had not heard of it until you booked it, which now I see it all
Ooh.
the time.
I
And
know.
like
I'm like, what is this thing where like I feel like I book something and it's this like niche, nobody's done it before, and then I'm like,
and then
now
she
it's
starts
cool. Gosh darn it.
yeah. No, it was cool when you
Um,
did it too, but it was just, was it, how did that get on your
what did
radar?
it
And like,
about?
what?
So it was just an audition on like audition, like I don't know, Broadway Chicago or something. Odyssey doesn't usually do auditions out of state, but for some reason that year they did.
They were looking for
I
you.
I guess so. So me and six other girls were hired. At the time, Odyssey had two casts. They do this like big Halloween thriller show, really big in Utah. The people love the little Halloween shows in Utah. So,
Wait, that's so funny because unrelated, Garrett is technically Mormon, not a practicing, but was born in
get
Utah.
out.
He loves Halloween. Wait a minute.
Wait,
I'm gonna have to ask him about.
how did I not know this?
It's
Okay,
not
yeah,
like
work, Garrett.
it's not really like, it's my
Okay,
fun fact about him because
I
he's
love
not like
that.
actually, but I mean,
More people. There's more than you realize.
yeah,
People
I
don't
mean, he's
like
not practicing,
people born in the sure.
but it
Right.
looks beautiful there. I want to go. I'm
It's
like, I need you to go
no,
visit.
Salt Lake. I know. I've been meaning to go back for a while now. But yeah.
Sorry, but anyways,
So
Halloween.
no, it's okay. So the thriller show. There was two casts at the time. That's how big it was. One that stayed in Salt Lake for all of October, and a touring cast that toured all of Utah.
Mm.
And usually, because the touring cast is put through a bit more of the ringer, the main company stays in Utah, doesn't have to travel, just gets to do their shows up in Salt Lake City, and then they hire people out for the touring cast. So they are like throwing us all over the state and whatever, because we don't know what we're getting into.
You're
We're
like, we don't
blind.
even know what Utah is.
I don't even know what
Right.
it is, right? Like, yeah. So, right, I was hired in. I was contracted for this thriller job. I get there with these other girls who are still like good Judies of mine, and we're all like, "What do we get ourselves signed up to do?" It was insane. First of all, the audition process for Odyssey, which still is this today, they had this audition this past weekend. You learn six different combos and six different styles of dance. All of these combos at least a minute long. So it is a
In one day?
marathon. Yes.
In one day?
Yes. No cuts usually. Everybody learns six combos. You have to do
Wow.
ballet, point, tap, hip hop, ballroom, jazz, and contemporary. Oh, seven. Sorry, seven. Count it, seven. Seven
Oh my
audition
God.
combos. And these are not simple combos. These are like probably a little bit harder than they need to be. Um,
But
and
like
so,
having a call with a point dancer and that same dancer then doing hip hop, it's not like impossible, but I
and
just,
ballroom, and
the
ballroom, and
ballroom,
tap. And
I
luckily, I
mean,
had some ballroom background, but like, what?
I would love
So
to learn ballroom. Wow. But like, yeah,
I
no,
am
but no any
in another
training in it.
life, I was a ballroom dancer.
Yeah, I could
Um,
see that for you.
but yeah, so after the audition, I was like, "Whoa, okay, I'm overwhelmed, but I'm intrigued because, as you know, I don't like to hone myself down to one style. So I was like, wow, this company's for me. They do everything. I do everything. Oh, this is perfect." And I get there, and I'm so overwhelmed because it's a 3 hour show. It is a 3 hour Halloween show, and yeah, so
You go
you
from a
learn it
ship
all.
nightmare to like real Halloween
Oh
nightmare.
my God, yes. And so we get through that contract, and lo and behold, I learn that they have a couple spots on the company to offer full time jobs for. And I was the lucky kid. I was the lucky kid offered the contract. So all of a sudden, I had a week to move to Utah. um, Figure that out. I don't know how I was going to drive when I was like, do I ship my car there? My car in Illinois was like way too old to be driving across the country. So
Wouldn't
I
make
ended up
it.
the company director actually offered me the 16-seater company van, to drive around for like the 5 months I would live there for the contract. I actually did a long-term Airbnb. That wasn't a thing yet, but I swindled my way into this like lovely couple in Airbnb being like, "Hey, I know this is like Airbnb and like you're supposed to do this for like a week or something. Can I live with you guys for 4 months?" Worked out. um,
I'm still thinking about you in the van pulling up to the Airbnb.
I know it's kind of funny to think about, but yeah, then I lived in Utah, and I got to go to Europe and travel in Germany and like, I, it was great. That first year was like, I never would have thought that that's the direction
That's what.
this Halloween show would have taken me.
So is
And
the
it's,
touring company just the Halloween show, and then the main company does
yes,
all the shows? Because there's more than
yes,
just a Halloween show.
yes. So we also do like a Christmassy something. For many years it was the Nutcracker, but now they do like a spoof on It's a Wonderful Life.
Wait, they did the
Um,
Nutcracker. They did the like a ballet.
so this is the next fun thing about Odyssey is that they love to take a cult classic and turn it right on its head and just make
Okay.
it fresh and new. So we did Nutcracker, but it was Nutcracker in the like 21st century. So
Cool.
um yeah, so instead of a Nutcracker, she receives a cell phone. And this and the cell phone transports her to all these cool and unique places. And instead of the waltz of the flowers, it is the waltz of the Angry Birds. And
I'm dead.
I don't even know where to take you on this trip. This is just the Christmas show.
We
But
gotta do a whole separate episode just
I know
dissecting
the
this.
lore of Odyssey Dance Theater. Shout out to Daryl Yeager.
Wow.
And Ellie Renner. Ellie Renner. She actually
Yes,
she
I
joined
forgot
Odyssey
she.
for a solid year or
Man,
two.
a solid
Um,
year.
yeah, I don't know. That's about. I feel like that's as much as most people can take. But there are the
But
people that do that for their whole careers. So
I would say because like you and Allie Renner, like I can see that. Like you guys are
yeah,
similar in
yeah.
that way. Like yeah.
Well,
Okay.
and she was already out there in Salt Lake City for I think Salt at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, hey, girl, just Odyssey's a thing if
Pop
you're
on
bored.
over.
If you really want to do something crazy different. And that is what Odyssey is. And actually, Odyssey is what got me into theater. It taught me that if I hadn't done Odyssey, I don't think I would have been open to getting into theater. I don't think I would have been like as passionate about it. Because that's the other thing about Odyssey is that once you get to the spring season, you're doing these like full length theater shows without the singing and like 10 times the
Bless.
dancing. But there was a lot
No
of acting
mics.
involved. Yes, no mics and just like very much like Rockette ensemble type dance where like it
Love.
is just that is the kind of dance we were doing at Odyssey. Which I don't know how I was getting my 5'8" body to do that at the time, but after 2 years I said, you know what? I'm ready to move on. I had been like the company doesn't structure itself like this, but the first year I was kind of like an ensemble member, understudy for a lot of the supporting like leading roles, and then by my second season I was a soloist and like they don't again it's not like a title you don't actually do that but like that's kind of the track I had taken. So I think by my second year I was kind of like okay like I'm comfortable like I've done my work here, I've hit the top, and like I'm ready to go. My
Yeah,
2020
keep
was supposed to
growing.
be my year of auditions actually, so we all know how
Gosh,
that went. But
it's
like I went
crazy
into
to hear
2020 being like yeah good
people's like.
plans. I was supposed to be going to Europe like March 20th. I think like March 14th the world shut down.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Wait,
And
Europe
yeah,
for Odyssey or for
yeah,
yourself?
Europe for Odyssey. Europe for
Dang.
Odyssey. But that's the cool thing about Odyssey is that he'll let you buy your plane ticket back whenever you want. So like that first year, I spent 3 weeks after our company tour just doing what I wanted in Europe. And
Oh,
so like
fun.
this second year, I had all these plans set. Obviously, we didn't get to go, but right, 2020 was supposed to be my year of auditions, and I
Man,
did not a single one. I did not a
awesome.
single one.
I mean, did anyone do anything? I don't.
I
I
I know, I know.
had a little
Yeah.
tap board outside in my parents' like backyard,
Yep.
tried to like take a tap class, but that was probably the. I don't know. I feel like tap classes were easy and
The
hard in different
easiest
ways
thing to
because
I
it's
know,
like,
right?
but the lag then for like the sounds, but also you didn't have to have
Mm,
a ton of space to do it. Oh, good old COVID. So you moved back
God bless.
home
Yep.
for COVID,
Yep.
and then no auditions happened. It kind
Yep.
of segues me into this, which I love. This fun fact about you. This is not fully related, but you mentioned you have a notes app with 83 organized lists, which I
Yeah.
need you to
Yeah.
like create. You can sell it if you want. Create some type of digital product to show me how to do that. I'll pay you for it.
Oh
I'm
my
sure many
gosh.
people would. But with that being said, I don't know what your lineup was supposed to look like for auditions. But as someone who is like, you probably identify as type A and
Yeah.
very like on it and planned, do you
Hmm.
feel like that has ever held you back or kept you
Oh
in
my
your head in
God.
any way?
Oh my God. It's funny. I don't know if I would like really categorize myself that way anymore. Um, as much. But yeah, back then I was incredibly like goal oriented, next step, next step, next step. And that's something I really struggled with since college is like suddenly there was just like this open ended, it's up to you, figure it
And
out.
you
And
can
those
do
are the
anything you
skills.
want because you're so great.
Right, yeah. And I like,
But it's like when you have too many options. It's like when you go to a restaurant and
yeah,
there's a menu with every option. You're like,
yes,
oh gosh, I'm hard. But when there's 10 things,
yes.
you're like, okay,
And
done.
that was like a skill I wish I had been given or worked on in college, was like the ability to choose and the ability to, um, without guidance, like how do you still
Trusting
guide
yourself.
yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something that I'm still learning. I'm still struggling with. It's really hard for me to build habits still. I'm really bad at that. As organized and as like compulsive as I am, habits are really hard for me to
Me
build.
too.
Yes,
Wait,
it's really
what?
hard.
Do you think that though, maybe because of your lifestyle and you don't have the same schedule every day, do you think that makes it harder
One
to
one
build habits?
hundred 100 million%. So some of it's on me and the lifestyle I chose. I think a lot of it's
Well,
also just like the like slight ADHD, slight neurodivergent spectrum of like it's really hard for me to like yeah, right, like commit to any
listen.
kind of
Yeah.
consistent structure. It's also the Sagittarius rising in me. She craves freedom. But
But also
yeah,
love structure
so
at the same time. Yeah.
right. So it's I love my notes. I love being organized. I think a part of what drives that notes app is like if I'm going on a trip, I'm making a note and I am researching. So, that's a bit of what that again, that's financially driven. That's like if I'm spending the money, I am doing the damn thing. Um, so that's a bit of that. Also comes from like the convention life and just like
Yeah.
constantly trying to be on top of my shit. I'm sorry, I keep swearing. Am I allowed to swear? My bad.
Everyone
Um,
asks that. I'm like, I mean,
okay,
yeah,
it
I
doesn't
don't
matter, right?
care.
Okay, cool.
No.
Anyways, I love to be on top of my shit at work. I love to just be organized when I have outside responsibility, outside pressure, outside, motivation. It's really hard for internal motivation to stay organized like that and to build habits like that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I feel
she
like you
really
have
knows that
some
for all.
grounding. You have like grounding, like kind of habits. I feel like maybe also
Yeah.
I identify with a lot of what you just said. I think that sometimes we're painted this picture that a habit is like you get up at the same time every day and you do the same workout and you do the same thing for breakfast, where it's you're like I have my comfy clothes, I take one class a day, I
Yeah.
whatever you're doing, and just maybe we just need to not be as hard on ourselves of
Well, and like I
and it's like
think
the
there's still
perfectionism.
you can still be productive. I think it's like the more freedom I allow myself, it's like the more I'm willing to choose it because it doesn't feel like a like
Forced.
yeah, it doesn't feel like yeah, like something being
Or when
forced on me
when
or
you're
like
like, I know I should go take a ballet class, but I really don't want to, and then you go to the
mhm.
class, and then you're like, I'm not even getting anything out of this because I'm not mentally here.
I'm
And
not
it's like
here for
maybe,
myself, right?
yeah, it's like
Yep.
trusting. It's that going back to that trust thing of like, hey, like it's hard even for like a workout class. I remember having that
Yep.
feeling of like, gosh, I know I should go, but I don't really want to. And of course, there's a difference between, okay, you're being lazy, like, let's go, you're going to feel better. But what's the difference between that versus, hey, your body actually needs a break and you need to like
Yep.
not
Yep.
go. So it's like
Yep.
finding that. Ooh,
It
what made
is.
you
It's tough.
decide to split your time between New York City and Chicago? And because I think there are a lot of people that would be really interested in this
And
option.
that
So like,
lifestyle, I know it's
well,
very not typical.
but I
Yeah.
do, I did that for not to your extent, but I've talked to people too where they're like, I have a life where I'm at and I love my life, but
Hmm.
I also
Hmm.
want to be trying to pursue dance. And
Hmm.
it's hard if you're not in one of those major hubs.
Yeah. So for me, I started working with West Coast Dance Explosion. Shout out WCDE. And I suddenly had a budget. I suddenly was working consistently post pandemic. because before that was really just like trying to teach. Again, like I had kind of lost my relationship with my home studio, so I suddenly had like no income whatsoever. And I booked that Bridgerton gig, which was cool, but that was, like a very short period of time, and then I was suddenly back to being unemployed again. And there were some studios I could get in with to try to teach at, but again, they were looking for like long-term committed
Yeah.
teachers, and that's just not the route I knew I wanted to take. I knew I was still auditioning for things. So I started working with West Coast, and I finally had a budget, and I remember just like, I think, so my sister is signed with Block Talent Agency out in LA. And I had a really brief meeting with the like theater director of the Block agency, whatever. And him and like 16 other people had all been like, you need to be in New York. And I was just like, okay, fine, fine. It's just funny because like, if you had asked me like 4 years ago when I was a senior in college, I'd have been like, anything to be in New York. And now I was like, I don't know. My confidence and like, I think
Well,
my
and
like,
also just your understanding of
yes,
life
my
and
like
what it takes to live in New
actual,
York.
yep. And I learned a lot about myself during the pandemic. So, or like when it was really intense. And yeah, I was like, well, let me just sublease. Let me just sublease. That's a thing, right? People sublease. And
I
I
remember. I think I was there when you first did it.
yeah, yeah. So I think you were in the city because we ran into each other with my sister, I think, at that Target. Do you remember that?
At the Target, the 85th
That was,
Street Target.
yes. Oh my God, that's right.
Good location. Good location.
I know, it was gorgeous. And so, yeah, so I subleased with a friend from, he's like, I knew him from Salt Lake City actually. So he had like an empty basement unit. I stayed with him for the fall, and then I came back for the like travel season of West Coast.
How long
Um,
were you here in the fall?
I
Or
was here
there?
for 2 months,
Okay.
October and November, or partially, like partial, like September. It was like 8 weeks from September to November,
Okay.
around there. That was kind of like my test, like, okay, let's try this. And then I was like, oh, okay, no, that was great. I could do that. So then I went back in January, and I was there till May, which is about that like West Coast convention dance, cycle, also the audition cycle. I
Hmm.
really wanted to go for that audition cycle. Never again. And yeah, yeah. So I realized I liked New York enough to like maybe do that again, but not enough to be there full time. So I went
Why do
back
you think
home.
not full time for
Oh
your personal
God.
preference?
So for me, again, budget is freaking king. So I know that to live in New York, my current like yearly salary would not be enough to suffice living there full time. So I know that if I were to be living in New York full time, I'd have to get extra work. And I know that working in New York doesn't really work for me. I suck at the hustle. I suck at the hustle. So, and I've known that for a while about myself that like I have been very, very privileged and lucky to be able to never have to do some kind of survival gig outside of the industry. I've worked at that campus, the cafe on campus in college, but like since
Yeah.
then, I've never waited. I've never bartended. I've never worked at some kind of like coffee shop. I've never worked retail. I've never done anything like that. Um, so I know that a job like that would likely take me out of my industry quick. I know that like the second I'm standing serving anything, like I'm not taking class that day. I
Yeah.
know that about me. And so New York was like, well, what's the point of living here if I don't have the energy to do something like that? And so,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a big reason why I don't think I could do it here full time, even still to this day, unless I were to find a job here that like still fuels me enough. There are so many people you've talked to that like I don't know how they do it here. They coach, they do whatever, and then they still have the energy to take class. They still have the energy to audition. I even when I was healthy, don't think I could have really, really commit to that. I think I burnt myself out quick at school, and then with Odyssey and everything, like the pandemic slowed me the fuck down. Like I'm not a hustle
Yeah.
girl, and it sucks. I
You're like,
want to be
whoa,
her
this was
so bad.
nice. Yeah.
Well, and just like my body, like my nervous system, I don't have it. So yeah, I don't think that that's a
Yeah.
big reason why. And I think where you're at in New York also plays a huge part. So like last year I was on a fifth floor walk up, no washer dryer in unit.
Yeah.
Um, you
It
know?
hurts.
So
It
like, and like
hurts.
those things,
Yeah.
and it's like, just you're schlepping all your stuff everywhere. My joints are not the most like strong and sufficient.
Did you want to get into
Um,
that at all?
yeah, sure, sure, yeah. Um, my body is, I just feel like it's been the forefront of my life recently. But yeah, that's New York. I love New York for most. It's not for me full time. I love
Yeah.
splitting my time between here and home.
I
It
feel
keeps
that.
me financially sound. It keeps me mentally and physically sound. Both home and here have pros and cons. Um, but this is just what works for me. I think I felt a lot of shame about it for so long, the first like year or two, because it was just like, well, when are you going to fully do it? You're living at home. How can you live with your parents? And like, like I hear all of that. I hear
Oh
all of
my
that, and
gosh.
it's just the more I'm on TikTok, the
All of
more I like,
TikTok, I guess.
yes. And it's just like I'm like, I remind myself that like just because my friends don't live at home, or just because my friends um have these like really insane beautiful careers, like I am not them. I have not been as fortunate. I have not been like, I don't do like some kind of full-time adult gig. So my life is just not going to look like theirs, and
And also, I'm sure a
de-shedding
lot
that.
of those people, yeah, but like also, I lived at home until I was like 23. Like you went and
Yeah.
worked until you were
Yeah.
probably older than
Yeah.
that. And then you're about like,
Yeah.
and that's,
Yeah. It's just like not everyone's path looks the same. And
yeah,
I think that was really hard for me for a minute, was like, um, not only with my like home non-dance friends, but like with my dance friends, like I feel like there's a bit of that still that I have to like work through, or like just kind of like toss the comments aside. But
yeah. Do you
this really
feel, I
works for
mean,
me and I love it.
yeah, I mean, and you're happy because I've also
Yeah.
been thinking about the whole like all or nothing mentality that is
Yes.
in dance because I'm
Yes.
seeing it trickle like into now that I'm not performing and pursuing that anymore. Like
Yes.
I feel that now and I'm like trying to like de-shed that.
Yes.
It's something
Yes.
even as small of like this is so stupid, but something as small of like, oh man, I'm a little behind on my laundry. Instead of just like doing one load and
Yep.
being like, okay, like let me like I'm like, well, I have to my whole afternoon's done. I gotta
Yep.
go do all the loads and do it all right
Yep.
now. Where it's like, why?
Yep.
And
Yes.
also
And
like
that is like, ooh, that's a good one.
and just like even with dance where it's like, oh well, you don't live in New York full time. You don't want to hustle, like you
You're
don't
not
love
gonna make
it.
it.
You're
Yeah.
not gonna
Yeah.
do
Right. You're
like
not
where
committed. Yeah.
yeah, where
Yeah.
it's like, and then that like deters you because I felt
Yeah.
that even with when I was doing Rockettes, I was like, I didn't have interest in doing other dance things. And I think I tricked
Mm-hmm.
myself even to be like, oh, well, like I'm not a real dancer. Like I don't really like love it that
Yeah.
much. But it's just like, that's so silly. It's
It
so
is.
silly.
And it's such a hard thing to grow out of. So yeah, that's
Man.
that's a tough
Well,
one.
but okay, but it's nice for people to see too that it's possible to like do
Yeah.
it and just I think there's so much power in knowing yourself in that way and not
Mm.
having to compare to other people and
It's a
how
tough
you
game.
found it's hard, but it's just remembering that everyone was dealt different cards. I mean, even when I was
Yeah.
there full time, there were kids, but kind of
Yeah.
kids. Like
But yeah.
I was dancing with 18-year-olds who like their
Yeah.
parents were funding them for
Yes.
because
And
for
I've
them
never,
that was
right, I was gonna say, yeah.
their like maybe that was their college experience.
Yeah.
Whatever the situation is, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to go take that third class. Like I have to go to my job. I
I
have to
can't.
work
Yeah. Like,
and
right.
but it also made me, which it sounds like it made you too, be like, hey, I don't get to take a million classes. I do get one class today. So like I'm going to be locked in and I'm going to get
Hmm.
so much out of this
Hmm.
one class. And
Yeah.
by the second or third class, I'm like checked out anyways. I'm tired.
Right. Right.
I don't like, I don't know how I made it through
I
rehearsal days,
know.
but like it's different when you're being
Yes.
forced to. Like
It's
you
so
have to.
different. It's so
It's just like
different.
I could be doing something else right now, but that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
And the money thing is so, man. I was
Yeah.
in a. Do you feel on the same kind of note?
Hmm.
Do you feel like pressure from society in a way of like booking work and looks like and what that looks like as success for a dancer,
My
especially when
God.
we're in this like
Yeah.
industry where it's getting harder and harder to book that meaningful
work that you want to be doing, especially when you're at this point in your career. You're like, I'm not going to even go to a random audition that I don't want to do.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's been one of like the most like lifelong topics. I mean, the past 4 years have been this like weird, like I feel like for the first two, I was like, it's okay, it's hopeful, and like I still have that, and blah 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 blah. And I still love to perform. And it's just like the farther that gets, the harder it is to really fight for yourself and fight for what you want. Um, and I with the body, the struggles and the sickness and everything, it's like really put me on a high freaking gradient uphill to like work towards those things. But I think like a big thing I've learned is that like just because your body is struggling or just because you're not booking things, like doesn't mean the career is over. Like, you know what I mean? That's like such a hard lesson because you don't want to be that person. You don't want to be that example. But like, I have no other choice but to like accept it and strive in it. And like, you know what? Yeah. And it can be me. I can be that person. And I'm happy to be that example. And like, just because
We
I
love an
wasn't that,
underdog.
yes. And like, and it's so ridiculous because so many careers had these like big like these big like empty moments and these big like, and then nothing happened and nothing
Or
happened
people
and
even
nothing
walk
happened.
away and come back, and it's just like,
Yes. And so just like, I think, yes, you can grieve what you thought you were going to have. And I still do every day, but that doesn't mean I still don't have the capability to know that like all it takes is one quick change for things to look different.
the
It's
power of
also,
compounding too.
yeah. So it's that is a hard, heavy one. I feel it. I feel it every time I open my social media. I feel it every time. I mean, the last night with the Tonies, like,
Oh, I had to not watch
oh,
it.
yeah, I didn't watch it, but I watched the recaps afterwards.
Right.
And oh,
No, it's
it's
hard
a
when you're
hard
like,
one.
oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
like that was what I thought I was going to be there. I thought I would have been able to do that. And you talk to Erzsi. I love Erzsi, and like she has like such a good mindset on these things. And it's people like her that I'm just like, no, it's gonna be fine. It's fine. If
no,
she's
it's
fine,
gonna
I'm
be
fine.
fine.
I can do it. Yeah. Like, you know what? Like, I don't know where I'm gonna end up or what my credits will end up being, but like, I'm really just trying to
Yeah.
focus on the present. So
Is
stupid, but
there? It's not stupid. I mean, you just have to like. I feel
well, and
being
like
young,
I
you
prioritize
really.
the things that make me happy outside of dance, and that's I never wanted to be that girl, but it's also good to be that girl.
Yeah, I know. Well, it sounds like, which I was going to ask you next, was it's just redefining what success looks like to you, maybe. And maybe, I don't
Yeah,
know if you wanted to touch on that too, of just,
yeah,
hey, like success is literally like, hey, I'm still going and I'm learning to take care of myself and actually be
yes,
happy.
like to a T, to a T. Um, I was talking with, I actually just saw Al Long, Miss Allison Long in Texas a couple months ago,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we were kind of chatting about it, and like, she has moved on for her like performance, like career and stuff, and freaking killing it. But,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the times she's like, are you still trying? Are you still wanting that? Are you still like, like, how are you still kicking, girl? And
She
it's
will
like,
ask you the real question. She'll be like, let's get
yes,
into this.
yes. And like, like, I think with the health right now, it's like all it's forced me to be like, well, if this doesn't ever happen, what if this gets worse? How are you going to survive that? And luckily that has been the case, but like it's forced me to ask myself those questions, and it's forced me to like, yeah, just kind of like rename things, reorganize things, readjust, like how I perceive myself and my career, my happiness. It's like I've allowed myself to enjoy my work at West Coast for so long. I didn't
Yeah.
want to enjoy it. I'm like trying to enjoy it now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And like, I didn't want to be this teacher choreographer, but like for the first time ever last summer, I was choreographing numbers and like more solos than ever. And it's like, I think this tunnel vision, and this like almost this like, I'm the most passionate about performance and that's all I'm ever going to put my energy into. And it's like, I so wish that was a lesson I had gotten over earlier.
Yeah.
And I've been given the chance to get over earlier because it didn't serve me. Um, I like to travel. I like to explore. I like to adventure. Like being at
Yeah.
home allows me the budget to do that. Like these like little choices that I make, like that I've been doing, I feel like I'm putting more weight into because I'm like, oh, no, I knew what
Not
I was
everyone gets to
doing.
do that.
Right. I was gonna say maybe I didn't realize like how important those choices were for me, but like now I'm like, oh, no, I knew what I was doing. I just needed to trust it a bit more.
Yeah, that's the theme of like trusting. Well, you
Yep.
mentioned too the idea of tying success to performing and feeling like you can't have both. And I don't know where mine stemmed from either, but I remember as well, maybe it was something in college of like, okay, if
Hmm.
I'm going to be successful, that like I have to perform. Like that's it. But
Yeah.
even stepping away now and when I randomly do like teaching pop-ups or solos or privates,
Hmm.
whatever, and I'm like, oh wow, I'm getting actually so much joy out of this. And I feel like I
Hmm.
used to think it was like fake almost. I'm like, okay, do you really like teaching or are you just like that's all you have to do? You know what I mean?
Right. I know. It's this weird stigma. Like, well, if you can't make it, then like you gotta fall back on this other thing. And like, there's
Yeah.
nothing to say. I don't want to like, um, obviously people who choose that as their career path, more power to you. I think for me, performance is still just like, that is the highest dopamine. That is the highest endorphins. Like that is like the pinnacle of what makes me feel alive. So it's really
Yeah.
hard to let go of not having control over whether that happens or not.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think that's for me, that's where it comes from. Cause even like sitting
Yeah.
here now, like as much as I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever perform, I don't know. That's still just like that inner child, that inner teen, that inner adult, like she is just like, that's all she wants. And so I think being like, cool, there's also a lot of other things that fuel you and make you feel good. Um,
Yeah.
let's give those things a chance to shine. Let's give those things like how I fell into modeling, how I fell into like more of that stuff. Getting creative that way. I'm still on set that way. I'm still doing things that way. It still fuels me. Maybe it's not the
Yeah.
epitome of everything, but like, girl, we can't control everything. So you have
Ooh.
to have, oops, like you have to have space for that stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah,
interesting too, and not you never know how performing is going to look like either. And
no,
like for
no,
me,
none of us are guaranteed it.
yeah, and like staying open as you are now to like the
Hmm.
different opportunities you're given, you
Yeah.
never know what baby performing looks like in a way you weren't originally envisioning, but we'll have to, we're going to stay tuned to find out. I wanted to dive
Right.
into one more thing at least before
Sure.
I ask you your final questions, because you kind of
Okay.
mentioned it for a
Yeah.
second about West Coast and not wanting
Yeah.
to like your role
Oh,
or like
enjoy
it.
it.
But can
Yeah.
you, I think that competitions and conventions are like very much growing and people have a lot of mixed takes on just the culture and like how that works. So what is your, I know you
Yeah.
mentioned 13 weekends that you do a year.
Yep.
What does that look
Mhm.
like for you in your role? And did you start there and how did you get there?
So I grew up attending West Coast, like many other dance conventions. And then my sister was one of the last like official John Crutchman assistants before he retired from West Coast. And then they brought her back, my sister back, when Nick Bowman took over for the company. They needed someone from like the old days that could kind of, like help them basically reorganize the new company because they were kind of starting from scratch to an extent. And then that was during the pandemic. She worked for them over 2021. And then in 2022, she went back on tour with Maluma at the time, and they kind of like struggled without her for a few months. And then they basically realized, oh, wait, there's two of you? Can the other one come? And I was
Can we
like,
have your son come?
yes, I can totally come. I just finished Bridgerton, the contract with them at the time. I got thrown into their nationals. It was chaos. Me and the woman I work with, Kaya Hill, love Kaya Hill, trauma bonded for life. And she was like, well, if I'm doing this now, I really want you to do it with me. Yeah, it's been bliss ever since. She is a big reason why I'm there, why I agreed to sign on and why I'm still doing it. But yeah, for a really long time at the beginning, I was Bella's sister. Oh, you're Bella's sister. Not just with the faculty and like my coworkers, but with like every studio owner. Because that's like part of my job is like being the face of West Coast, being the accessible person at West Coast. And everyone knew Bella. Everyone knew the redheaded John Crutchman assistant. They knew her and they were like, oh, you're the sister. So for so
You guys
long,
are pretty just like, it makes sense.
Yes. So like for a long time, it just kind of felt like I was this like, oh, you're the older one. Oh, you know what I mean? Like a lot of the times it's like they see this like hyper successful. I mean, she is just like everything I wish I could just like function as. And like, but she's the younger one. And that's always been this thing, right? So then it was being like shoved in my face over and over. And it wasn't like I was even dancing on the weekends. I'm admin. I'm not even technical. That's not even my technical, my technical like title is like flex admin. Like that's who I am. Like assistant director who? No, she's a flex admin. That is how I'm referred to actually on site.
Well, and assistant director.
I appreciate that. And that's like the wish, right? That's the goal. And yeah, for so long I was just like I was finally at this company that I had like held on a pinnacle for so long, but I was just the sister sitting behind the desk. And like there was just like this weird stigma I was holding myself to, and this like weird, like this isn't what I wanted when I came here. Like I wanted to be that assistant, I wanted to be that dancer that like everyone was obsessed with, and it's like that wasn't the case, and it wasn't what was happening. So it was really hard for me to allow myself to really enjoy it because there was like almost this like shaming whatever tied into the work because it's just coming from like so much inner child work, so after doing it for a year or two, I was like, this is stupid. I like this. Who cares that I'm working at a dance convention? Like,
you're still like in the industry. Yeah.
It is still in the industry. And like, I don't know. I just kind of was just like, yes, I might have been the sister, but like, that's not the case anymore. Like now I'm just Erzsi. I'm Erzsi at West Coast. It's Erzsi and Kaya. Like that is just like who we are. And, luckily
putting your ego to the side and just listening to what you like and what's making
you
happy.
Hello. Difficult for a dancer, but here we are.
Wow, what's that? Just redefining our own sense of success, not from the outside world. That's so crazy. Erzsi, we could talk forever, but I'm gonna ask you your final questions. If you could go back and give your younger self a piece of advice, knowing what you know now, what would you say to her?
Expand. Just having versatility in dance is cool, but having versatility in life is just going to serve you even more too. So
put that on a t-shirt.
And like I think I would have like been like I am doing that at the time. I think I would have been like so dead set on like I am a very versatile person too. And it's like no babe, like you actually have to put like a little bit of time in it. Like don't be afraid. It's okay.
It's okay to do it. Yeah. Oh my god, I love. If there's one thing you want the listeners to remember from this conversation, what would be your one key takeaway for them?
We've talked about trust a ton. We've talked about reshaping your idea of success in the eyes of everyone else a ton. Trust yourself. Reshape your idea of success. It's okay. You're still going to be successful even if you do that. And I think budget.
Please come out with your notes app ebook and as well as your budgeting ebook for dancers. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for that.
And take care of your body, damn it.
Yeah. You guys take care of it.
Or it will force you to.
Or it will catch up to you. Where can everyone find you to follow you and follow your journeys? I will link it, of course.
Let's see, Erzsi_Bernath on Instagram. I have a TikTok, but
she's trying to stay off that.
no, I love it. I love the community on TikTok. But I don't post much on it. I've had a few like viral videos, but nothing exciting.
Wait, what? I gotta go. I'm going to stalk after this. Oh my God. I'm not a good TikTok scroller. I'm actually weirdly enough an Instagram scroller.
Oh
like
my
I
God,
struggle.
see, I love my Instagram or my TikTok like feed. Like it knows me, it gets what I need. It's the people that I need to hear from, and like
yeah, see, I think I've messed up my algorithm. I get all like true crime documentary things. It's really
oh my
bad.
God. I love that. For me, it's all like health, wellness, like, just like good vibes, people that I can connect with, people that I don't feel so isolated, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, so I need to just rework my algorithm. Awesome. But you guys, you go follow Erzsi. Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you subscribe if you're not, and send this to someone who needs to listen. But thanks for kicking it with us. We'll see you guys next time.